What's up, guys? It's the real main event, the Rogue Soldier, the essential John L. Crossfire.
And I'm Mrs. Crossfire.
And once again, you guys are tuned into Caught
in Conversation. Shakalaka-laka.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 77 of Caught in Conversation. As always, I am your host, the essential John L. Crossfire, aka the Rogue Soldier, aka the real main event. It is currently Saturday, the 17th of December, as I record this intro, but if you're listening to this on the day that it drops, it's actually Christmas Day, so Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, enjoy your New Year, drink responsibly, all of that stuff. I am very excited to bring you this week's episode with ZuZu the Muscle Clown. Once again, sounded like a crack record, as you're going to hear him many a times in this conversation. I am very sorry to ZuZu that we didn't get this done in person when we had the chance at the start of November. My bad. There is a couple of technical difficulties, especially about around the hour mark, but it only lasts for about a minute, so please bear with us. Unfortunately, that's the joys of living in Australia and having terrible reception at times. I was going to try and actually clean it up a little and take it out, but for the sake of authenticity and, maybe it might not be fully professional, but for the sake of, authenticity and realism, I wanted to leave it in so you guys could capture the conversation in real time, just as ZuZu and I experienced it. The song of the week this week is Carol of the Bells by Lyric Noel. It's a metal cover of A Christmas Carol, because why not? It's very much up the alley of myself and my guest, ZuZu the Muscle Clown. Of course, that song, as I said, is Carol of the Bells by Lyric Noel. It's a fucking banger. Dare I say, mwah, chef's kiss. It's been a while since I've thrown that line out on the podcast here on Caught in Conversation. The match of the week this week is going to be Shane McMahon, here comes the money, versus Kane in an ambulance match at Survivor Series 2003. This is probably one of, if not the most appropriate match of the week in the entire history of this podcast thus far, because in this conversation with ZuZu, you're going to hear, he's going to mention classic Survivor Series, he's going to mention Kane, we're going to talk about Shane McMahon, and ZuZu and I also mentioned that we both have a mutual love and admiration for an old-fashioned gimmick match, brother. So again, that match for this week is Shane McMahon versus Kane at Survivor Series 2023. We're not there yet. Few days left yet in Survivor Series 2003. My bad, but without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. This is where I really wish that I had some sort of clown music or circus sounds on my soundboard, but it's ZuZu the Muscle Clown.
Hey.
How you doing, my brother? How you doing?
Yeah, good, man. It's good to hear from you, Crossy.
Yeah, I'm glad we finally managed to get this done, man. As I said to you, I'm sorry we didn't get this done in person. As I discussed on the episode I did with Steve, when I saw you in person the other month, I was running on zero sleep as it was, and then traveling it knocked me around. So unfortunately, it's over the phone, but we're getting it done at least.
That's all good, man. I think I had something on that day, or I'd left in the morning. I can't remember.
I wanted to get it done the night before, and I just crashed. And by the time I woke up, you'd gone to bed because you had to be up early, and I was just like, fuck, now I feel bad.
No, it's all good, bro. It's all good. We're getting it done.
Today, because it's, Christmas time and whatever else, the missus has had last-minute errands to run. She's literally walked through the door 5 minutes ago before I've called you, so I'm just like, fuck, I've got to, call ZuZu soon. I'm hoping she doesn't come inside. It's going to be really noisy, but we did it. But it's fucking saved by the bell, as they say. She's in the bedroom watching The Mentalist or some fucking weird crime show.
Oh, okay, cool, man. We're getting it done. That's awesome.
I feel like that might even be a good icebreaker. Is there anything that ZuZu the Clown is currently watching that, he might recommend to people?
Actually, I watched a really cool Bigfoot horror movie the other day. That was really awesome. It's an actual genre, Bigfoot horror movie.
Holy shit.
And you know what? They all start off the same. Like a car will like run over like a carload of people on their way to a trip, run over a
they
fucking
hit something.
It's awesome. It's called Exist. But yeah,
I might have to check that one out. I'm a sucker for those horror movies that are like so bad that they're good.
Oh yeah. Those are the only movies I've watched. It's horror movies.
I don't know if you
have.
crazy. I don't know if you have Tubi or not. It's a movie site. It's completely free, but it's like basically all like the B grade movies. They have so much like horror stuff on there that it's so bad that it's good. Like it's not bad as in like terrible. It's just that it's so overly cheesy that it's kind of cringe. But if you're in the mood for like cringy horror, it's fucking beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, there's some hit and misses on there for sure. There's I've got Tubi as well that I use it to watch a lot of. I got a lot of like the 1950s horror movies on there, Frankenstein's, early Frankenstein's. I believe Son of Frankenstein is on there.
Fuck yeah.
So you got there's some classics, but that's why I use it. I know the newer ones are more like real B grade, like they got like they're basically made on the GoPro in someone's face with them.
The wonders of modern technology where you can just make an entire movie like on your iPhone.
Yeah, it's brilliant. But yeah, sometimes you get some good results and sometimes you get some bad ones. Actually, there's a good movie on Shudder I watched with my girlfriend the other day. She actually liked it. Can't exactly remember what it was called. I'll have a look and see if it comes up on my Shudder. Oh well, like actually it's going to take me way too long to go through this phone, so it doesn't matter.
That's the one service that we don't have at the moment because, you know, funds and stuff, but it looks like it's got some fucking good shit on there, especially if you're a horror fan. But before we get sidetracked too much, I just felt like I'd already hit record before our ring just so that, you know, it was all set up and whatnot. I thought, well, that's a good segue. It's just a natural conversation. Why not pick your brain? But I'll wind it back to the beginning a little bit. Now, you did just do an interview with Joel Southgate on his YouTube channel, and if you guys haven't listened to that, go give it a listen / watch. But for those that haven't watched it or won't for whatever reason, ZuZu, can you just give us a quick, brief little rundown of what your first wrestling memory was as a kid?
My first wrestling memory as a kid was I had an uncle, and he was a legend. He gave me my first cigarette. He gave me my first beer. He was an absolute, he was just like a really good, funny legend.
Sounds a lot like my uncle.
Probably a bad influence. But
it was a different time when, we were younger, though.
Yeah, it was a different time. The 90s was a lot different. But he loved wrestling, and you could not argue with him that it was a work. He was like Big Boss Man's real, he really loved wrestling. I think the first thing I ever watched was with him was Survivor Series, 97 maybe.
Fuck, Survivor Series 97, wasn't that? That's the Montreal Screwjob, isn't it, 97?
No, it's not 97. Wait there. I've got man, so old school. It goes it's like the one with Boss. It's like Boss Man, Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair. Ric Flair makes an appearance. Actually, that was
it might have been 92, 93, because Ric Flair came in.
Yeah.
Not tail end of 92, the beginning of 92.
Yeah, it definitely was, and because I grew up actually in a real country sort of town, so. Not everyone had Foxtel either back then. So usually you just get what you could get at the VHS store, and I'd always go right into the wrestling section and, I've got to watch this and watch a bunch of stuff. And then I started buying the magazine and then I got right into wrestling. I probably think there's been no bigger influence in my life than wrestling because my taste in music came from wrestling. Wanted to lift big weights and stay in shape because of wrestling. I liked combat sports because of pro wrestling. And sort of grew up, went on to be a musician for a while, and then I was an MMA fighter for a while, and then, you know, done all these things that pro wrestling sort of influenced me in my normal everyday life. But I hadn't done pro wrestling, and yeah. But I'm pretty sure my first memory, actually going back to that before we get played track, was Big Boss Man, definitely. And then I seen Ultimate Warrior, and then Ultimate Warrior was like that. I was like, wow, that's, you know, I gotta do some push-ups. So when I look like that, you know.
Even for me, like you're a little bit older than me. I was born in '94, but I still was very much in that, you know, that era of, you know, same thing, going to the movie store, hiring movies, and I've got like an entire wall of just wrestling DVDs, and even kids today are like, what are DVDs? Like, what the fuck? Like, but it's the same thing. And then obviously my dad was a very heavy influence on me for wrestling. So Hulk Hogan, again, Ultimate Warrior, Macho Man, like that's, although that was just before my time, that's the shit that I still grew up on and have God knows how many like DVDs and compilations from those times. But what was it exactly about Ultimate Warrior? Was it like the colors and everything else, or just the whole?
So he was an ass kicker. He was an absolute ass kicker with you know, he was like shorter than Hulk Hogan, but like just like it was like, you know, because you always think like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Before I seen Ultimate Warrior, I was like, no way anyone is like as ripped and as big as Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like, he is the baddest dude on
That's
the planet.
funny you bring that up, though, because Arnold's not actually, like, overly tall. He's a pretty average height dude, but because he's so fucking jacked, he looks so big and imposing when you see him on the screen.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think when I seen Ultimate Warrior, I was like, you know, and they come running out, you know, he'd come diving into the ring, throw a line, the other guy ducks the line, runs back, big shoulder block, and makes that into something, you know what I mean? Like, I think you just like, it's just like that old school wrestling is really cool. That real, like, you know, you make something that is, you know, it's just like a line. Like, you can make a whole big guy match. I did a match a while ago in Port Macquarie with a guy, Barry King. And he's a big guy. You know, I really wanted to do more big guy matches. We made a whole match of like 7 minutes of just like back elbows, clotheslines, body slam. I think a body slam was the biggest move. And it was a stage dive, of course. And the rest of it was just all strikes. And like, I miss that type of wrestling.
That's the brilliance of the psychology behind professional wrestling, though, and big man wrestling in particular. It's an art. Like, you know, looking back on it, you know, the Warrior isn't a very nice person behind the scenes, but even still watching, like, even I as I said, I'm it was just before my time frame by just a couple of years, but you go back and you watch, just pick any Warrior match, right? And you see the entrance where he runs down and it's the music and he's shaking the ropes. And as you said, it's literally shoulder tackle, bang, bang, bang. They make the joke that a lot of the times his entrance, which is only 20 seconds tops, was still, you know, longer than a lot of his matches because they were all these squash matches. But that's the art behind it. It's the spectacle, and he mastered that art.
That's right, man. And the classic moment for me is when he no-sells Triple H's finisher. And that is, because, man, the pedigree, like, oh man, if you get a pedigree, you're out. You know what I mean? That's like, if you think about the kayfabe, is like you're getting drilled like head first into the canvas. You're not getting the fuck up. That's it. The pedigree's on, unless there's a double down that goes forever, and somehow, you know, there's like a comeback. You know, you're not kicking out.
The funny part about that is that was literally the first ever Ultimate Warrior clip that I saw. Because, as I said, I was born in '94, so that was the year of WrestleMania 10, I believe. So WrestleMania 12, I'm 1.5, 2 years old, and I think I was 8 or 9 when I finally saw that clip on whatever fucking random DVD I was watching, some sort of compilation DVD. And I remember just having my mind blown, like, who is this guy? And then going to my dad, like, you know, who's the Ultimate Warrior? And then my dad being just this massive Hulk Hogan fan goes, oh, well, he's one of the very few that actually beat Hulk Hogan. And I was like, oh my God, this guy beat Hulk Hogan. Like, he's like the greatest wrestler of all time because he beat Hulk Hogan. Like, you know, just the way that a kid's mind works. But
oh, man, it's awkward. I mean, it's classic stuff, man. It's just like, it's the fact that he could do that and he did that, you know what I mean? Like, no one else, even like, you know, like, you don't even kick out of the Seth Rollins pedigree, you know what I mean? Like, you get the pedigree, you go on to sleep, but Warrior can get away with it because he's such an animal. And it's like, that's his character.
And especially seeing something like Triple H was, like, that was like right on the cusp as he was kind of starting to ascend as well. So it's like, you know, he's building up. He's got this move over, hits the Warrior, and he just pops back up, and you're just like, oh my God.
Yeah, there's like, that was good reputation of being like, it's one of the most dangerous moves in pro wrestling unless you're the Ultimate Warrior. You know, you've got to say that whole sentence when you say that, when you talk about that move now, I guess. But, I mean, I can understand what Triple H would be so shitted off about that. But, I mean, like, if you're going to let anyone do it, a legend like that, like, it's pretty
It's
cool.
always funny listening to, like, the podcasts that, you know, like Bruce Pritchard and other people that are actually in WWE or have been in WWE/F, and they're telling the stories of, you know, those moments backstage of the Ultimate Warrior trying to convince Triple H that he was going to no-sell it, but it wasn't even convincing. It was just that, hey, I'm no-selling this, and Triple H could argue, but it doesn't matter. The Warrior had made up his mind.
That's the same shoot interview where he called Kurt Hennig a drug addict.
Honestly, there's so many Warrior shoot interviews out there that, you know, he wasn't exactly his own, he didn't exactly benefit himself in years later.
Right.
But watching that stuff back, though, there's 100%, I think it all holds up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Before we get too far and spend the next hour just listing off Ultimate Warrior moments, because Lord knows we both could. What was the deciding factor then, ZuZu, that, you know, you mentioned you've been in a band, you've done MMA, so you're already a journeyman off the bat before you've even gotten into professional wrestling, but what was the deciding factor that then gets you into the actual business, and when do you actually decide that you wanted to do it?
It was probably a time in my life where I needed something to focus on because I had left them. I had got to the point with MMA where it's like, you know, it's like high level, there's no going forward here. The guys get younger and they get more dangerous, and you know, maybe I'd taken one too many knocks to the head, and you know, it doesn't help that I only have one lung as well, so that was always interesting. But I got to the point where it's just like, this is not good for your health, and you have to stop this in general and find something else. And I met a guy at an MMA gym in Melbourne who was a pro wrestler, and we became good friends. And he told me, he was a pro wrestler, and I was like, man, you can do that in Australia? Like, where the fuck do I sign up? And I think after my last MMA match, I went to a pro wrestling school and was like, I want to learn this. So, and they were pretty eager to train me. Yeah, so I got in that way. Well, I spent 12 months at that place, and then moved back over to Queensland, and eventually ended up in Townsville. Yeah. So
that's a pretty crazy story, though, especially kind of, you know, in wrestling in general. Like, obviously in the last, you know, probably decade or so, it's gotten a lot easier, but think of, we were just talking about the Ultimate Warrior, think about those days of wrestling and how hush-hush kayfabe was. For someone to just go, hey, I'm a wrestler, are you interested? That's like that's basically an open invitation. Like that's absolutely mind-blowing when you think about it for that time frame.
Yeah. I've never wanted to be anything else in my whole life. I didn't know you could even sign up to do it in Australia. Like, I never went to a show. I didn't see it. I didn't know it even existed in Australia. Like, when I was a kid, I remember I rang Mario Milano's wrestling school. So, like, I think it might have been, like, I can't remember, but I was real, real young. And I got the number of, it was on like we've got GWN where I grew up. It's like a really shitty TV station, but they have like a news show, like current affairs or whatever. They did a story on Mario Milano's wrestling school, and I wrote down the number and I called from a phone box and was like, I want to be a wrestler. And but I wanted to be a wrestler like my whole life. But after that, I never heard anything about pro wrestling in Australia. And whenever I researched, I just couldn't find it. So when I found out it happened, and I went to a show and seen just how lively the atmosphere was and everything, I was like, this is what I've wanted to do since I was a kid. So it just kind of that was the reason for that. But I had to see it first because I visioned in my mind that like maybe wrestling exists in Australia. It's like a show of like 5 people, and like I don't know. I'd stopped being a dedicated wrestling fan, especially with the MMA. I watched a lot more MMA and stuff, but then when I decided that I was going to be a wrestler, I watched a shitload of wrestling since it was the first time since I was really a teenager, sort of like maybe 17, that I really watched a lot of wrestling. I fell back in love with it. And I watched a lot of the stuff from, when I was growing up. You have to watch newer stuff too, I guess. So, a bit of mix of everything, but that's the main reason.
There's something special though about, you mentioned, seeing it live in person. I've, maybe we're both, both being in the business, maybe we're biased, but I've been to, countless concerts and whatever else. Like, there is no experience like a live professional wrestling show. And whether there's 5 people in the show or 5 people in the crowd or 500 in the crowd, there's something about seeing it in person. Like, my mum, if it's on TV, she'll still be like, oh, that's fake, blah, blah, blah. But she has come to so many shows because it's just a whole different kettle of fish live.
Oh, that's true. That's true. I mean, like it is important. I think community wrestling. I know in Canberra there's 2 shows. You have your community wrestling, and you have your. I think it's more about the shows more like social media. Some of looks snappy on social media, but like community wrestling, everyone. I think it's important to respect community wrestling because it keeps wrestling alive. And a lot of people that will go to like, for instance, that might go to like a not so well known show. Maybe, you'll find them at more known shows too. And like, it's a good way sometimes to get booked because you can be, I remember when I first went to Melbourne and I hadn't wrestled, I retired from wrestling for like, I think it was 6 months. And I was like, all right, nah, screw this. I love wrestling too much. I haven't done really a lot. Just being in North Queensland, like wrestling here. Which is not disrespectful to them because they have great shows there and great crowds. So, and the fans are excellent. But like, I had some time off, and I went to Melbourne, and I asked here and I asked there. I sort of got a job doing ring crew, so I met like a lady that does. Her name's Mel, really really sweet lady. And she does like they rent out a ring. I just worked with them. So I'd end up at shows, I'd go to like promoters, you know, like, hey, do a clown gimmick, you know, see if they are interested in booking me. And I got booked for a kids party.
Oh, nice.
So,
Nice.
yeah, so it was like, I swear, like 10 kids and a couple adults. And it was at a wrestling school. And I just, you know, I just thought, as soon as I see it, because someone's going to book it. I knew there was another promoter there. So I was like, as soon as I see it, they're probably going to book it because it looks pretty, you know, it's pretty bright, colourful, and I like it. So, you know, I have this match, and the guy ends up booking me for like, for his show. And then I did his show, and then I ended up getting a DMDU booking from Baywatch. One of the guys from DMDU was there, so he gave me a booking on their show. You know what I mean? Like, when you go somewhere, like, some guys are just expect, like, they're just like, I'm just going to rock up, you know, say who I am. You really got to, like, everyone wants you to pay your dues, mainly, you know, and if you've got to set up the ring for, like, a bunch of shows, the different shows, it's there, you know, you just got to do it.
I'm forever telling the young guys that, like, yeah, 100%, you know, bring your gear. That's always been the adage, no matter what you do, always bring your gear. But,
yeah,
you know, if you go in just expecting to be booked, I feel like, one, that's a little bit of a douchebag mindset, but you're setting yourself up for disappointment. So obviously, you know, you've done it the right way. You know, would say, look, you know, set up the ring, let me do this, let me do that.
yeah.
You got to earn an opportunity, and then you did get that opportunity, and lucky for you, you managed to knock it out of the park and get a few more bookings off the back of that.
Yeah, like, I remember I moved to Townsville so I could train and wrestle with QWA. And I moved there because Tim K, the Queensland wrestler, he told me, you should go up there, man, because Mason Charles' work was like, he's wrestled in Japan. He's like one of the best of Queensland wrestling. And I was like, all you got to do is, if I move up there, and you know, they might give me a shot. So I moved up there, and I started training and got booked. But I had to live in Townsville. You know, like, I mean, like, it's pretty isolated up there, man. So really for me, but I really like the place. I love the wrestling. It's really good there. So I learned a lot there. So it was good to do that. But you got to go outside your comfort zone. It's really hard sometimes.
Definitely. I think going out of your comfort zone in any field you're in, I think, is really the only way to go. It's just kind of, you got to swallow your pride and take a shot, and you might miss, you might hit, but, you know, it's you've got to take that risk.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's been a couple of times now where, like, I've just lived on fun. So I've just gone, like, I'm going to go wrestle in this territory, and I'm just going to find, like a backpackers or something, and I'm just going to go to the gym every single day, properly train, work, and wrestle in that territory for a while. It's kind of what I did with New South Wales, and then also with Melbourne. But yeah, I just do that because, I mean, like, you get your name out there. I've got to say, New South Wales has been, like, honestly, the best crowd for me. Like, I hate to say it, I'm probably going to get some haters for this. The New South Wales crowd really fucking shits on a Queensland crowd just because they're just like, I don't know, they remember you, they pop for everything, they're not snobby. Not to say Queensland's got great fans, but, like, there's been a couple of times I've wrestled in mainly Brisbane, not so much the north of Queensland, but Brisbane, and I just didn't have a good time, and I just, you know, you just feel like, you know, there's like, you know, clicky tension, and, like, people are like,
obviously aren't going to mention the name of the promotion on this, but the only promotion I had the pleasure of working for in Queensland will say left a very bad taste in my mouth for the entire state as a whole. So to all the other Queensland promotions out there, I sincerely apologise.
But you're experienced wrestling in Queensland too. You know what I mean? Like we both worked that show, and Queensland is just like you never. There's something about it. I don't know if it's uber competitive. I don't know what it is, and there's like some guys used to talk, and I'm not going to mention names because obviously I respect everyone, and I'm not. And if I'm going to talk shit about someone, I'll say it to their face. But like I
feel that.
I would just like mention this story, and it was like this guy was like really protective of Queensland wrestling, and he was another wrestler, and he'd be like, we're just trying to clean up Queensland wrestling. And, like, you talk about Queensland wrestling was a thing. Like, Vince McMahon, like, oh, we're going to watch out for that Queensland wrestling. Like, just let these guys develop, you know what I mean? Like, there's so much like, oh, this guy is, I remember when I was the worst guy on the card. And you know what? I was just lucky along my journey. I had people that supported me. And, I had a good artist and I had a good dressmaker. Like, she's, WA lady. And,
I've seen the work that your gear maker does. Yeah. You go through Dinky, don't you?
Yeah, Dinky is. Yeah, I've been lucky because
fantastic wrestling attire maker.
She is great. She is so good. She like. I draw, and I'm not very good at drawing. But I draw the pants up and send them to her, and she makes them.
Here's this very, very, very rough idea, and somehow she takes that idea and brings just fucking magic.
Yeah, she does such a good job, man. So I've had her. She's helped me with my look. I've been lucky to be able to know a lot about nutrition from being a fighter because of dropping weight stuff like that. So I know what foods I should eat and how I should eat. And I train hard. They got that and created the look, I guess, and then the fire breathing and stuff. But people have helped me along the way, like Alex Mahoney. She does the wrestling shirts and stuff. She's really good. She's one of my best friends, and she's supported me from the start. She's done hard work for me. She's looked after me, and also superhuman of all people, superhuman as well. It helped a little bit, I guess.
I will say though, you did mention just before the New South Wales crowds compared to other states, and I feel like, as you say, there's really two different kinds. There's like the internet fans, and then there's like the community fans. I feel New South Wales. The majority of the promotions in New South Wales, they have somehow managed to masterfully blend both of those styles together, where a good chunk of them are family friendly and someone that has no idea about wrestling can go to a show and have fun, but there's enough talent on there that where if you post a video online, the hardcore fans are going to be like, holy shit, check out ZuZu the Muscle Clown, or check out Kid Valiant. I'll shout his name out because I just interviewed him 2 days ago as I record this. It'll actually be the previous episode to this one when this one drops on Christmas. But I think that's what's with New South Wales, is that they have that perfect. They just have the perfect blend. They've managed to somehow blend it better than any other state has.
Yeah, and there's like they enjoy the pace, which is like the perfect for me, because I want to do more matches that are just like I don't know if he's like a big fan of Rhino. Are you a big fan of Rhino?
I have an autograph by Rhino in my bedroom somewhere. Never met the guy, but I ordered it online, and it's like one of my fucking prized possessions. That dude is fantastic.
That's awesome. Yeah, I like that style that he does. I like that real, like, him and Kane, like, they're the best big guy matches. They're just like, I think there's two matches. They're both title matches. And it's just like, just an absolute brawl. And people go, oh, that's too spotty. But, like, they're doing, there's a lot of, like, going on in a short time. But it's also basic. because, like, I mean, like, if it's also basic stuff, like you're just doing lines, spears, clotheslines, you know, just strikes, you know, just real basic stuff, and just making it fun. And I just want to have so many more matches like that. And I've just the New South Wales crowd, they really like these matches. Like they're popping. A lot of people are like, oh, you know, locking up and doing a wrist lock, and I'm just not into that sort of wrestling. Like,
I feel like,
you know,
coming back to what you said before about you had a 7-minute match and you somehow managed to have a great match. And again, that comes down to the psychology and everything, but it factors into everything. Like New South Wales cards in general, they have such a good mix of different styles and blend that you can go, hey, I want to work this style. Then promoter can be like, okay, that's fine. These guys can do your technical, or these guys can do your high flying flips or your strong style. It doesn't really matter. So I think you found your, like, you can do, you've done a bit of everything. You can do hardcore, you can do whatever, but your niche is kind of that, you know, big man style. Then fucking, hey, go for it.
Yeah, well, that's how I feel. It suits, like, as you said, like, trying other styles. Like, I was trying things like rivals and stuff like that. And I learned a lot from that sort of style. And working, when I first started working in Melbourne, I was training at George Julio's school, and he was showing me a lot of that stuff with Harris. So me and Harris used to train together there. And, you know, like, I learned a lot from that stuff. And then I want to be like an agile. That's another thing I loved about Warrior and Sting is the same. They're really big guys. They're super athletic. You know what I mean?
Well,
they might not be the best.
If the moment calls for it, ZuZu the Muscle Clown can bust out a fucking Rana or a top rope splash or something like that. And it's awesome. It makes sense, but you don't need to do it all the time. And you've found you know, your niche, which is, I think that's the rule number one. Like, a lot of, and obviously you've had a very big chance, a lot of time to kind of, you know, develop the ZuZu the Muscle Clown persona. You've basically just taken yourself and added some face paint, really, from what I've gotten to know you over the last couple of years. And I think that's the very important thing. But yeah, I think 100% that I can see why with the New South Wales style of wrestling, I'll say, I think that's a very obvious sign as to why you fit in so well to that compared to other states or dare I say territories, if we're going to use, you know, wrestling lingo.
Yeah, I feel it. And I feel like there's really a lot of great underrated wrestlers too in New South Wales. But there's a lot of great underrated wrestlers too in Queensland. But mostly I'm finding a lot of them are sort of leaving Queensland and branching out. Like Alex Shepard, he's over in New Zealand. I believe, you know, he's sights set on Japan, and you know, they're doing like great things. And because, like, if you stay in Queensland, you just like end up getting buried by politics. It's really just sad what they've done to the scene. There are some really talented guys. Like, I worked a couple of times with Rip Riley, like when I was really...
Dude, again, agile big man. He doesn't need to do it, but when he busts it out, you're like, holy fucking shit.
Dude, he's really decent, bro. Like, he's super decent. Like,
I could see him being booked in Melbourne or New South Wales as well, or Victoria and New South Wales.
Yeah, me too, man. I mean, EC Brownie is doing it. Like, he's wrestling a lot at AWS. He's like you know, a powerhouse from Queensland. Really good guy. Really talented, super talented, and switched on. I don't know what it is. Maybe you know, it's arrangements. I mean, we're not in the business of making a lot of money, and these shows, they're just, you know, they're just barely drawing. And people that are running these shows, a lot of They're not banking on this. This is
a
costing them.
lot of promoters damn near break even, and that's why it's so awesome to see in the
Yeah.
last few years the boom almost of Australian wrestling as a whole. Like we've mentioned Victoria, Queensland, New South Wales. We won't go off too much on a tangent, but the other states that I haven't mentioned, they have some great shit happening as well. But I do like, we're not going to harp on Queensland too much. I don't want this to turn into just a burial fest. I don't want people coming for me, because in the last year or so, Queensland wrestling has improved so much, maybe even the last 2 years. Like the 3 Count Academy, anytime someone in the Queensland area says, hey, where can I train? 3 Count is always one that I'm like, hey, check this out, because they're doing some great stuff. But we'll wind it back to sorry, continue.
It's probably the only legit school there, to be honest.
And again, that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Many...
It takes a lot to run a proper professional wrestling school.
Yeah, no, they've done well, definitely. They've got some super talented people there. There's, even their rookies I haven't even wrestled yet, from footage that I've seen, look really switched on and really well trained. So they've definitely done a good job. Yeah, Bobby. Is it Bobby?
Bobby Bishop and Lucille Brawl are the owners of it. And they've brought in like Kyle Fletcher and Mark Davis, known as Aussie Open, to Australian fans and I guess international fans now as well, because they've done shit in Japan and the UK. Actually, they're part of fucking Will Ospreay's faction in Japan now, I think, which is, Will Ospreay's a fairly big name in independent wrestling, and I think that's an understatement. But yeah, they've got a great group of people at 3 Count, and even as you said, the rookies, so many of them are. I watched the clips that they put on social media. They've got rookies that are training for a month, 2 months, and the speed that they're picking up some of this stuff is just ridiculous. Great. And obviously you've got to credit them themselves for learning, but that also does come with having those teachers.
Oh yeah, and an animated guy like Bobby is a very animated guy.
I'm a very big fan of what Bobby does. And he's a nice dude too. I remember, for example, the first show that I saw him on, I was talking to someone about my dad, and he'd left the room because it was during intermission, and I was basically cutting a promo about the promotion that will not be named. I had to miss a show, and I was like, "Look, guys, I'm sorry I didn't make it. This is what happened. I'm not trying to make excuses, but I just needed time off." And Bobby went out of his way after that show to come find me and was like, "Hey, man, I was walking outside as you were like talking. I'm so sorry. Like, didn't mean to disrespect you." And then he came over and was like, "Sorry for your loss," and blah blah blah. Like, he didn't have to take the time out of his day to like pull me aside. So I've always appreciated that about Bobby.
Oh, he's super nice guy. I think I trained with him in BCW, I think BCW, when I first met Bobby, it was a while back, and he's a really good guy. And to do that, right, it's going to be just out of his way, for sure.
But we'll dial it back to New South Wales a little bit, ZuZu. As we record this, you are currently the Kingdom Professional Wrestling Elite Champion. You successfully defended it against Morgan Rose and Kid Valiant. What does ZuZu the Muscle Clown intend to do within wrestling in general in 2023, but what kind of heights are you hoping to take that Kingdom Elite Championship to?
Oh man, I'm gonna push way harder than I definitely did this year. I mean, I pushed pretty hard, but I'm definitely planning on. I just want some really solid singles matches. Like, I really do. I just want some real solid singles matches. I've had some interesting matches there, so I have fun every time. It's such a good crowd, and so I just want to continue what I'm doing, but even better. Like, just do it better. Just be. I definitely want to work more on my cardio. As you were saying about worrying and blowing up on the way to the ring, doing the same. So I've got to work a little bit more on my cardio. You know what? I really want to work. There's so many guys I want to work. I would love to do a singles with the other big guy that's at Kingdom. Jack. His name is Jack Cully. Trying to. You still there, bro?
Yeah, man.
Just trying to find his name. It's Jack Cunningham or something like that. Man, I tell you what, I've had way too many concussions. Remembering names is a thing. Remembering matches is like I can remember a match no problem, but anything else
I'm the
in
same.
life.
I'm ADHD as fuck and have taken way too many shots to the head. But somehow when it comes to wrestling, I'm like, yeah, let's do this. And then in everyday life, I'm like, why did I walk into this room?
Yeah. Yeah, oh man. Yeah,
I was
exactly.
trying to boot up the Kingdom Wrestling card on my phone, but for some reason it's deciding to have technical difficulties as we're recording. But coming up, your first show of the year for Kingdom, and I'll remember to link it in the description as well. The Kingdom Pro Wrestling presents the Purge. Do you have any idea of who you're facing just yet for that Kingdom Elite Championship?
I don't, but I hope it's this guy, Jack
Callahan, yes.
This guy is a beast. So, like, I hope it's him. He's like got have you seen him? He's got like a spine hanging around his neck. Like, how cool is that? I love the aesthetics of things. So, like, for me to have a match like...
it's almost a match made in heaven, too, really, because it's like if he comes out with the Bones, you've got, the Satanic Clown, you're fucking breathing fire. Like, that's a pretty good mesh of styles.
Oh, yeah, man. And we worked each other in the Rumble. And we did this. He got like a power bomb. And he lifted me from the ground. Just deadlifted me up. And I did the rana, and he went over the top rope. He's super agile.
Actually, I remember having this conversation with you in person now the night we were meant to do this, and you're just like, "What the fuck?" Because ZuZu the Muscle Clown is never really manhandled like that.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, because we were sort of it was out of spot of the match, but it had to happen. You know what I mean? There's no other way. This has to happen. You know what I mean? So he was just like, whoa! Was up at the air there. It was cool as. But I hope it's him. But whoever they got, I'm happy with.
I'd love to see ZuZu the Muscle Clown versus the Buccaneer, to be honest.
Oh man, I would love that match. So actually, to be fair, I would love that match too.
And that'd fit straight into what you're saying. You want to do more big man style matches. And again, he's a big dude. He's ridiculously fucking agile for his size, and it's just not fair.
Oh, that's right. And I believe he does a Vader bomb.
Yes.
He does a Vader bomb. I've done a Vader bomb for ages too. We could have first to be Vader bombed or something.
Like the old school Jerry Lawler matches where it's like the pile driver match. The first person to hit their variation of the pile driver wins. The first person to hit a Vader bomb wins automatically. No pins, no submissions.
Oh man, that would be epic.
And it kind of fit into the whole death carnival gimmick though as well. You're a clown, you've got to have some sort of fuckery thrown in.
Yeah, I mean, it would be an awesome match. I also a big misfit. I think it's crazy that no one for Halloween was going thought of booking ZuZu versus Misfit.
How is that? How is that happen? The amount of promotions.
I know.
Even as a team, this shit writes itself.
I mean, it's the ultimate. Could you imagine if the Yomoko show would be epic?
I think what needs to happen is I need to somehow win Lotto just so I can be like, hey, Misfit versus ZuZu, let's go.
It has to be Halloween and a coffin match or something like that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that would. You know what I've always wanted to do, actually? It sounds absolutely stupid, but I like it. It's a green slime match. So the loser gets, thrown into the green slime on Halloween.
I dig that,
mean,
though, 'cause
like,
it's very, like, old school kind of, like...
yeah.
This is going to probably, obviously...
Yeah, like you can have a kid's pool full of, like, that kind of green slime.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. Like, this is a match that gets gets shat on by a lot. But you think back, we were talking about Triple H and the Ultimate Warrior earlier, when he was really in the midst of the, the Hunter Hearst Helmsley stuck up, British blue blood, guy, whatever, and he has the hog pen match with Henry Godwin, and there's legitimate like pig manure and shit, and the loser goes into.
Yeah,
like it's wrestling, bro. Like it works, and even in the Divas age, it's very cringy to look at. But they were doing the same thing where it's like, oh, the loser gets thrown into the mud or the whatever it is. I mean, AEW did it with Jericho and Orange Cassidy with the big fucking tub of mimosa or whatever the fuck it was.
It's those gimmick type of matches. That's what Halloween's about. It's a giant gimmick. You know what I mean?
Say, every single year I say, my goal is to work a Halloween show. Just so, it doesn't matter whether I'm a wrestler or a commentator or a ring announcer. I want to do some fucking fuckery and do some, some gimmicky shit.
Hell yeah. It's the best. And you know what sucks? Every Halloween so far, I've had bad luck. On Halloween, the show will get cancelled. It will be like my only booking for Halloween. And I'm like, then all I get.
Irony in that like in professional wrestling, the satanic clown doesn't have a booking on Halloween.
Yeah, I know. It's messed up, man. It's messed up, and it's like, and it will happen often. But I'm hoping next year Halloween will be better. But I want to get like a smoke bomb. But the problem is that I tried one of these smoke bombs out, and it literally covered the whole street that I was on in smoke. So people were like thinking about
this
like
works
calling
too
the fire brigade. I got in trouble. I actually dead set. I got in trouble for it. But I was just testing it out. Then once it goes, you can't stop it. You know what I mean? So I was like, all right, so I can't take this to a show because I'm just going to smoke the place out.
Like,
I'm hoping that
let's see if this works. Oh, fuck, it works too good.
Yeah, it works too good. I could just imagine everyone having to evacuate, like they're just breathing fire and the smoke
especially with
everywhere.
like venues and fire alarms and stuff as well. Like,
yeah, it's always
that's why
a pain.
there's majority of the venues in Australia you can't use fire, which is why when Joel and all that did fire recently in DMDU, I popped in, of course, you with Zero throwing the fireball in the pit. I was like, yes, he actually got to fucking do it.
Yeah,
because like that's all. I remember
was...
you saying that you want, like you were talking to you. I think it was online on Facebook or something. And you were like, "Oh, I want to do this, but I don't know if it could work." And then seeing the clip, and I was like, "Oh my god, yes!"
Yeah, I did it. I was like, I believe that there was the guy. I was like, look, to make it safe, you know what I mean, and everything like that. So as long as it's safe, I don't know. Well, to be honest, it wasn't really safe. But it's deathmatch, and it's a stinking nightclub with like, I think like 100 and something people. It was actually a decent turnout.
A lot of those pictures have been pretty good from what I've seen online in terms of crowd, which is how many sickos are there in Australian professional wrestling that want to pay this shit?
Yeah, I love that stuff, man. We did that one where we rolled the dice and we took turns stapling, putting money to each other. All right.
Oh, fucking hell.
There's improvisation of like our character work was really on par because there would be it was just really on par, and our characters really, because he is a nutcase, and I guess ZuZu's a nutcase too. So it kind of it was a really fun match, man. It's a shame we didn't get to do a follow up, but who knows? But
maybe somewhere else in the future. You never know.
Yeah, you never know.
Never say never in pro wrestling, as they say.
Yeah, never say you're retired. Never say you're retired. And, you never hear Jerry. Does Jerry Lawler ever say he's retired? I don't think.
Jerry Lawler ain't ever gonna retire. With all his health issues, he probably should, but again, he's just doing gimmicky pile driver matches to save his life.
Yeah, pretty much.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But we're just shy of an hour already, which is fucking awesome. I didn't even realize. So I'll go to the next question. Otherwise, we're just going to be here ranting for the next hour, which is good because I have no doubt that I can get you back on, and you've got stories for days. I know that for a fact.
Absolutely.
But while we're talking about dream matches in Kingdom and crazy stuff inside the pit, what are some of your favorite matches of all time that you've seen as a fan? Doesn't matter whether it's live or on television, whatever. And what are some of the favorite matches that you've had so far?
Probably like my favorite match to watch is my all-time. I really enjoy Ultimate Warrior versus Dino Bravo. I really love that match.
Dino Bravo is another one that is a fantastic. I noticed that everyone that ZuZu mentions has fantastic character work.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely something.
I don't want to sidetrack too much, but have you seen the Dark Side of the Ring episode on Dino Bravo?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fucking fantastic.
He's a legend. That's for sure.
I remember one of the Rumbles, there's like the weightlifting competition where like Dino Bravo broke the record, and it's like I don't even know to this day if that was real or if it was gimmicked or what, but it's pretty convincing.
It is pretty convincing.
Like he's a fucking mammoth of a man.
Yeah. He's got that build too, that big barrel chest and the pot belly, and he's like fucking solid as a rock.
He's got that Superman chest that they like to say. Like you'd almost assume that it's bulletproof. Like it's just so solid.
Yeah. He's a crazy Canadian bear. Canadian bear for sure. That guy. He's inevitable.
But all right, so Dino Bravo versus Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah. I definitely love all Sham McMahon's matches too. The guy's crazy.
Yes. He's the best worst wrestler of all time.
Yeah, he is. Absolutely.
Those that are in the business will understand when I say, like, he was trained how to take a traditional bump, but, he still never went down the full-blown path. It was basically, he got away with being a spot monkey because he was the boss's son, but he always gave 100. Like, a lot of people shit on the Hell in a Cell between Shane and The Undertaker, which, hey, look, you can argue that maybe they wasted The Undertaker that year with Shane McMahon, but that cell match with Shane coming off the top and missing and going through the table, that's up there with the Mick Foley spot, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So, that's a big bump, man. That's a crazy bump.
Well, even someone you mentioned earlier, you mentioned Kane, right, as one of your favorites. To any of those people out there, I'm going to make one of those matches the match of the week once I eventually put all this together. But to anyone out there, go back and watch the rivalry between Kane and Shane McMahon in, I think, was it 02 or 03? I can't think off the top of my head. It was in that time frame. But just go watch that and watch Shane McMahon just fucking kill himself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I remember that. Oh, man.
Like, it's crazy, but you have to respect it.
Oh, yeah, he's just like, how? Like, how he's like, I've taken some big bumps on, like, concrete. Like, this bump, I react. If you give me a fucking line on the outside and you give me a line, I'm gonna react to that. I'm gonna bump properly and I'm gonna bump on that fucking concrete. And it sucks. Like, it just takes the instant wind out of you. And you can't move for like 10 seconds, I'm dead. But like then you get up and you're like, I fucking love this, you know what I mean? I'm gonna do it again, you know what I mean? But then the next day you're like, when you gotta go to work, you're like, oh man, I'm jacked up.
I always love those nights where whether it's after a show or before a show, and like you basically I don't want to say go on tour, but when you're hanging out with a bunch of the boys, or a bunch of the workers, I should say, for due to respect to the fantastic women wrestlers that we have in this company, but when you're sitting around and you just you're throwing ideas out, and it's like, oh, what if we did this? And like everyone in the room just looks at you and you're like, are you fucking stupid? And you're like, yeah, maybe, but
Yeah.
And I think you and I have had some of those conversations where it's like, well, I want to try this and I could try that, and it's like, it's gonna suck, but as Mick Foley says, think of the pop.
Yeah, you know what? You know what? People can evil pants on wrestling sometimes.
Evil wrestling can work. It all depends on the audience and everything. And again, come back to psychology. If that's like your big crescendo like spot or whatever as well, like make it make sense, make it count. It's that's one of those ones that you can get away with. A lot of the old school wrestling people hate that it's become. People wrestle now because they want to be made into gifs, which in a lot of aspects I do look at it and I cringe, and I'm like, I can see why the old school people don't like it, but at the same time, it's like, you think back to, we just mentioned Shane McMahon coming off the cell and all his bumps, the Mick Foley spot where he gets tossed off the cell. Yeah. How many times in the last 20, I think it was actually just the 25th anniversary of it the other week, wasn't it? Something like that, 24th anniversary. So it's getting close. But how many times has that one particular clip, whether it's a video or a GIF or whatever, GIF, whatever the fuck it's called, how many times over the years has that one spot just been played over and over again? Like, I saw Mick Foley this year when he did his, comedy tour. And he's like, it's been, 20 plus years, in a couple of years it'll be 30 years or whatever. In another 30 years when, we're all old and wrinkly, it's still going to be there. And in, say 100 years' time, we're all gone. That clip is still going to be out there.
Yeah, it makes that moment made them immortal. You know what I mean? Like, that makes your memories immortal. Like, if you even watch back at, Carl Koch matches and stuff in the 60s, like that, even as far back as when wrestling was really big in Australia, was it WWCW or something? The one that Milano was on.
Yeah, because was that when they did WCW Australia? I think there's actually when it was still WCCW, wasn't it? When it was World Class Championship Wrestling, and then it into
He's always going to know, and even future generations, I'm pretty sure the smarky, modern, smart wrestling fan knows who Bruno Sammartino is.
Yes, the longest reigning WWF champion of all time, and due to the current, era we're in, that's probably never going to get broken. But they could go back and they could watch that Bruno stuff, and they'd probably be like, "Oh, this is boring." But again, this is where psychology comes in, and at the same time, though, with the ZuZu character, if you're in that moment, if you're feeling it, then fuck, do it. Maybe you'll watch it back and someone will be like, that didn't make sense. But it's all, there's no black and white with professional wrestling. It's very shades of gray. Like, it's apples and oranges. There's a formula, but there's not. But yeah. But I feel like we kind of went off on a rant there. That was probably my fault. My apologies. What are some of the some of your favorite matches that you've had, ZuZu?
I would definitely say my number one favorite working Adonis.
Oh, I love Adonis.
Same Adonis. Are you thinking of Casey?
I'm not sure. I know the Adonis that's up in Queensland.
Yeah, there's two.
Oh.
There's one.
Well, shit.
Yeah, there's one.
Yeah, you broke up a little bit just there, bro.
Oh, okay. Is it back?
Yeah, there you go. So there's one in Queensland, and would you say there's one in Melbourne as well?
There's one in Melbourne. There's one in He was just like, this is a reasonably small town. There's like a roster of wrestlers. And like, probably some of them never leave that place. And actually, my look came from like the red skull. I started using the red skull, the type of pants I was wearing, the way the match was structured, the everything about that match just like helped me do it. That match, even though it was like I think 2 years in to me wrestling as my actual first match, because that was a match where I knew exactly where I wanted to go and how I was going to get there. That's before I was like trying not to. I mean, like everyone does when they first start, but I guess like that was the point where I was like comfortable in the skin of that, the way it looked and everything. I sort of broke away from that for a while, and that's why I kind of like had enough of wrestling because my vision wasn't right. And then when I came back, I continued that. Oh look, I watched that match over and over again, and I just, really, that would be my favorite. And my second would be with Akel at AWF.
Okay, yep. I believe you mentioned that one in the Joel Southgate episode as well, I think.
Yeah, that was probably my second favorite. That was my second favorite. Also, I did another good one with a guy in Rockhampton called Tyson D. Horn. We did I guess I got to do some like more technical stuff and some more high flying stuff, and it was just a real well structured match, but it was really good too. I mean, there's a lot of guys up there, man. It's just like cost them too much to go to Sydney or Melbourne or even Brisbane. It's pretty far for them. So they probably just stay up there, and I think they're trying to create like a territory there, like they've got like Mackay, Rockhampton, Townsville, Cairns. So all that part there is like, it's all QWA. I believe the other company in Cairns closed down and QWA moved up there as well.
That's what I love about the power of social media though. Like if you use it properly as a tool, you can literally watch people grow basically in real time, even if you'll never have the chance to see them live. Like it's absolutely insane. And as you say, there's a lot of people out there. Like I follow so many damn different promotions, but QWA is one you mentioned. They've got a couple of guys there that I could easily see breaking out across the country if they were to get the chance or if they were able to travel. It's absolutely 100%. But while we're talking about, talent and all the fun stuff, in terms of opponents, ZuZu, who are some of your ultimate dream opponents? I'm talking whether it's locally, internationally, doesn't matter. And what are some of your dream stipulations that you'd like to take part in?
My dream match, I guess, would be Mick Moretti. So Mick,
yes.
Maybe me and Mick Moretti in a, make it like it's like a Joker-esque sort of like match, like
a Carnival of Doom match.
Yeah, like something like that. That would be like super cool. That would be super cool.
The funny thing is, like you mentioned before the slime. You could have levels to this. You could have like some sort of death carnival or something with Mick Moretti, where there's like a 3 stages of hell or a 3 series match or something, where it's like here's your regular match, and then there's the slime match, and then it's like okay, here's the hardcore gimmicky fucking crazy shit match.
Yeah, exactly. Like you could definitely do that, and have so much fun with our characters, I guess. But
I'm just imagining like the promos in my head as well, and because like Moretti being with PWA, his video promos, and the production, and ZuZu can do some shit where he's again breathing fire and doing what he does, and it's fucking like I love promos for me. I mean, look at The Rock. That's why he got over. But promos for me are probably the most important part of what we do. So I would love to see those two characters interact even if it wasn't even like a feud, just like, even if you were teaming or something, but just seeing the two characters interact in some way would be amazing to me as a fan.
Oh yeah, man. I could see that because like it really worked aesthetically as well. You know what I mean? And him and Gore as well.
Oh,
love to work.
I love Gore again. Big jacked motherfucker.
yeah, he's huge. Yeah, I was like, I met him when I was in Melbourne, and he's super jacked, bro. And he's like probably one of the scariest dudes, like in like Australian wrestling. Like the dude just comes piling out, going to like take it off, you know. Like, it'd be such a fun match.
He's even just watching again promos. His intensity it's unmatched. Current DMDU heavyweight champion, actually, I believe, as we record this.
I'm definitely not surprised.
But we've just kind of gone just a little bit over an hour, so we'll start to unwind a little bit. Before we head into the socials and the upcoming events and merch and all the carny bullshit, I always like to end on a non-wrestling question, just kind of as like a fun fact, and I try my best to tailor it to an individual. So obviously, ZuZu, your whole gimmick is that you're an evil clown, and as we've mentioned a couple times here, you genuinely fucking breathe fire. So, with that being said, ZuZu, what is your favorite circus act, and what is one that you would actually like to try?
Oh, yeah.
So ZuZu the Muscle Clown is a real circus clown. What kind of crazy shit is he doing or wants to do?
Fire swallowing.
Fire swallowing?
Yeah, it's like they swallow the flame and then they breathe it out.
So he's got the best of both worlds. It'd be like a Great Muda's Mist type of thing, like sucks the flame back in, spits it back out.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I would love to be able to do that. A lot of people used to be like, "Oh, do you juggle?" And I would be like, "Man, I'm not that kind of clown." So I had to come up with a trick. Is they're like, "Oh, just don't get it, you're a clown." So I was like, "So I'll try fire breathing." And lucky enough, I didn't burn my face off. So I thought that's what was going to happen.
Well, even just watching your entrance, like from the clips that you've seen and the clips that you've shared online, I'm just like, that's some intense stuff. And then Ref Steve, who I had on a couple of weeks ago, and Joel Southgate as well in his YouTube video with you, was like, holy fuck, I didn't realize, like, obviously it's fire, but we didn't realize that it was like that hot. Like, how are you putting that so close, like, to your fucking face?
It's you know what? I'm getting slowly. It's better and better every time. But eventually, I get to the point where like I move the stick away, and it's just like a flame coming out of my mouth. And then you're like, that's like master level fire breathing, because I've gotten closer and closer to my face every time to test the waters. So like, I go back here to be safe. First couple of times, and I was like a little closer. Yep, face is still there. A little closer. Yeah, and now I think I'm at the stage where I can get it that close, and I'll get a longer flame and be able to stick away. But it definitely, you feel it. You feel it on your eyebrows and your eyelashes. And then you've got to breathe in those fumes for the rest of the match.
It's funny that you mentioned that, though, because like obviously you know me. I've had issues with my eyes for the last I've had issues with my eyes my whole life, but the last few years it's gotten a lot worse. Every time I see you do that, I'm just like, this motherfucker is going to melt his eyeballs. That's all I go from my mind. And then it's funny that you mentioned Ultimate Warrior, because another thing, And I think I said this to you in person when I did see you at the start of October or November, whichever event it was. I came up for both of them. I can't remember. But the Ultimate Warrior Hulk Hogan rematch in WCW, the one that was notoriously really fucking bad. Like, you can play a drinking game with that match.
Yeah.
But where Hulk Hogan goes to throw the fireball and it explodes in his face and he literally singes off both his eyebrows and fucking blisters his nose and shit. Like, I hope.
Because they do it with the paper.
Yeah, and the paper just fucking.
Yeah, shit doesn't work. It's not reliable.
So it's good to see that at least with the stick you have a little bit more control than that. We haven't. Well, I should say yet, but hopefully we don't have a Hulk Hogan situation when ZuZu gets closer and closer.
Yeah, I got we don't do it in the nightclub. Explicit Joe. The smell of burnt hair and flesh that was coming off the eye. And it was like, I believe he got like a small burn, which is good because I wouldn't want to, scar him for life. And I did say it was safe. And in saying that, I'm not like an expert at it.
How crazy is the business of professional wrestling, though, that you're like, oh, thank God it was just a small burn. Like, a normal person would be like, I don't want to be burnt at all.
It was like a little like, especially the size of a tennis ball.
I can imagine, though, because as you say, it's basically, it was a dingy nightclub. And I use dingy in an endearing term in this context, I promise, but that's the whole vibe of it. It's just like this dark, grungy, I think maybe might be a better fit for that. And it's like a dark, grungy nightclub. So you mix in like the smell of, stale beer. And I'm sure, people used to smoke there back in the day or whatever. So it's like everything, just like the environment just engulfed in flames and lets off this, I'm sure what was a lovely smell. We'll use that term loosely.
Oh yeah, I lit up a cigarette right before it as well. So lit up a cigarette, I took a drag and I blew the smoke in his face, and then I stapled the cigarette to his forehead. And then
actual cigarette smoke,
the
smell of fire smoke, burning flesh, stale alcohol, fucking go-go dancers.
It's Newcastle.
Just another Saturday night or Friday night, whatever it was.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, fucking hell.
And I remember we did a syringe spot too, which was like really hard to watch.
There's like, very few things in like deathmatch that make me cringe. The syringes and the knife boards are the two things that make me just... I think we had this conversation again in person, which is why I'm like, fuck, now I feel even worse that we're doing this over the phone, as I said at the start. But the syringes and the knife boards are the two things where I'm just like, nah, I'm tapping out.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there was the DMGU show where Callan Butcher took like 3 or 4 of them into his bottom lip. And I was literally like retching while watching it, but I couldn't turn away at the same time.
Yeah.
My wife's just like, nah, I'm going to the other room. This is too much.
These DMD shows, man, I see some like, oh my God, that was something else. You know what I mean? Like, I remember when I was sweeping the canvas there in between matches, and there was like broken, like, I've never seen that much broken glass and fucking broken shit and fucking, like, you're just like, wow, there's shit flying through the air and stuff all the time.
Well, that's like one of their photos where it's like, I think it was after one of the couple of 1,000 light tube matches, 100 light tube matches, where they've taken a photo of the canvas and the whole canvas is white and it's just the shards of glass covering it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's, but man, yeah, that shit.
It's like, fuck that, but at the same time, it's such a beautiful, it's chaotic and gross, but it's so beautiful to look at in a weird way.
Yeah, well, Pete, that is, man, it's an art. Like, that's just like, it's probably, okay, it's like, you can't say it's like, the traditional style of wrestling that, we usually watch, but you know, it is an art form too. Like it might be a slightly different thing. It's kind of like what pro wrestling is to like, you know, something like a UFC or something like that. It's kind of like an alternative. When people get bored of UFC, what do they watch? They watch pro wrestling. When people get bored of pro wrestling, what do they watch? Deathmatch. It's kind of like
that's a good way of bringing it full circle, though, because you've dabbled in the deathmatch stuff as well, but as you say, you found your niche really in it's like the big man style, where it's just, you know, big hits, body slams, a lot of crowd work more than anything. But
yeah, I love that.
Deathmatch is just another style, you know.
It is, and you know, you should be able. I mean, everyone should be able to call it deathmatch. I mean, like it's just not. I mean, like. You're not going to turn down a booking, you know what I mean? So, like, if someone's like, "Oh, we're going to put you in the mid card or late on the card in a fucking, you know, light tubes match or something like that, or a staple gun match, or, you know, 4 games of pain or whatever," you know, you got to like, you know, you don't want to say no. It's going to be a big crowd. It's going to be a good experience. You know what I mean? Like, so you're gonna say, "Yeah, we'll fucking wrestle."
That's why I love that DMDU as a company have managed to they've managed to market deathmatch in general, which even in the States they have trouble doing that. Like the bigger promotions stay, you know, to the same area for the most part. But the fact that DMDU have managed to do that is amazing to me. But as we start to wind down here, ZuZu, where can people find your merch and social medias and all the fun stuff, and what are your current bookings for 2023?
So far, I've got Kingdom, Purge. I think like I haven't been given an opponent, but a pretty.
One would assume as the elite champion that you've got a spot on that show. Either way, or you're just going to have to gate crash and some sort of evil clown celebration.
You never know what Adam and Instagram having title for me. They'll like to, you know, make things spontaneous. You know, be just like that here or something, and then like get there and, you know, this is, you know, this is how it's going to go down, this and that. Pretty cool like that. I actually like it. It's spontaneous. It is. Sometimes the matches gets, you know, going to get put out there on a nice banner, or sometimes your match starts from a segment. You don't know, you know, when you. And I think they've got this merch. There's some new merch coming. We just worked on a design. And it's like a remake of an old design, like made like more current
and more fresh.
And I don't want to give away too much, but it's going to be it's got their logo on it as well, so they're going to like it's going to be like official Kingdom merch, and yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
You can put an XL aside for my fat ass, and when I've got the money, I'll definitely pick one up. But
oh man,
I don't know if like if people haven't seen it,
well.
if people haven't seen it, go check out Superhuman. Everyone knows him as the whoop whoop guy. You know, fuck this shit, whatever. There's been a couple of stunts that he's done where he's been wearing ZuZu the Muscle Clown merch. So you're literally international at this point.
Yeah, it's like you go check it out.
Whoop, whoop.
Shout out to the Muscle Clown. Yeah. He's the beard, man. Very how like I got a contact with that guy. It was so bizarre. I was like,
why is this guy wearing my shirt? But at the same time, fuck yes, he's wearing my shirt.
Well, yeah. Well, I thought the guy was like, when I first seen him, I was like, I contacted him and I said that I would send him a free shirt because I was like, oh man, good on this kid, you know what I mean? He's like coming out of his shell and like he's obviously, you know, he's obviously got some challenges in life, and he's reached out. I won't give him a free shirt. You know, I didn't know.
The funny thing about him, though, is like so many people shit on him and say that he's a stain on the business and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And, you know, again, not to go off too much of a rant or bury anyone, but that dude has still probably had more training than a lot of those people that are shitting on him, saying that they're killing their business or saying that he's killing their business.
Oh, fuck yeah, man. Like, he's a good kid, man. He's like, you know, it's really hard to tell if he's 13 or 34. But he's a funny guy, man. He's nice. I've sent him other shirts as well. He has other shirts of mine as well. And every time I go, I've got his actual address. Legit. So
as soon as those new merch drops, just be like, "Hey, brother, wear this in your next video."
Yeah. Well, I said to him, yeah. Well, you know, like I did ask that once, and he didn't reply. So I think he's like, you know, like superstar now. So he's like, I don't drop anyone.
He's big leaguing you.
Yeah,
raise my asking price, brother.
Yeah, he's like talking to my manager or something, you know. Like I don't know, it's a bit weird, but he's sometimes quiet, but you know, he's always
insane. That like the amount of messages that dude probably does get. It's probably a lot of hate as well, as we said, but he's got to cipher through all the bullshit.
Yeah, a lot of rubbish. But he lives, it's weird because, you know, in America, they have like, you know, in streets in Australia, we have like literally, they go up to like, what, 150, 160, maybe 200.
I mean, some of the bigger cities go up to like house number 400 and something, and it's just this 5 kilometer long fucking street.
Here's just like, it's an avenue. And it's like 1,000 and like something, you know? You're like, what the fuck kind of avenue is that, man? Like,
I always laugh when he does the stunts in the backyard, though, especially when he's on the really high platform. I'm like, what the fuck is his name this thing?
Oh yeah. There was him at GCW, and he was wearing one of my shirts, and I should have screen recorded the footage because I cannot find it ever since. But he was wearing, it was one of those stories on YouTube, and he was wearing one of my shirts at GCW, and I was like, fuck, and then my phone went fucking dead. And I was like, God. Viewing, you know what I mean?
This is how ZuZu raises his asking price. The whoop whoop kids wearing my merch, pay me more money.
Yeah, I'm like, motherfucker, that's it.
Where can fans and promoters alike find you on social media to hit you up for bookings or come watch you perform?
Well, Instagram is Pico. I run an Instagram page. That's my only social media. My theory is if you have like one social media, you'll get more followers because they don't get bombarded with your stuff. They only follow you on one thing. So, you know, they're like, oh, someone's on Instagram, but I follow him on Facebook. So just stick to, I've got one Insta. I've got a Facebook that's more personal sort of account. But if people look me up on Insta, if you just look up ZuZu, ZuZu, and I want your call is my account. So you can find everything.
My phone decided to actually load. That's good. So it's at I_want_your_corpse.
Yeah.
Because you do have a second one as well, but that was your backup one before you got this one back. I'll probably still blink them both when I put it together. But yeah, his main one is I Want Your Corpse if you want to see him perform or promoters slide into his DMs.
Yeah, that's right. That's the best place to catch me because, and it's got my merch link on there as well. So there's like just my merch. You click on it and it will take you to Redbubble, which has my shirts and some funky shirts, I guess. So, yeah, you can find everything on that Instagram page.
Excellent. Well, we're just shy of an hour and a half, so I might call this one, and hopefully we can do another one in the future. Hopefully we can actually do one in person. I'm going to keep apologizing because I feel so bad. But thanks for jumping on, man. Is there anything else you wanted to plug, promote before we wrap this thing up?
No, man. I mean, like, as I said, actually, I'm planning on, I've got some stuff lined up for Melbourne, possibly next year. So, any fans that I have in Victoria,
keep an eye out for those ZuZu social media posts.
Yeah, because there is a promoter. I've talked to a lot of promoters from there, but there's one I've wrestled for before, and he did offer me a spot just before this month, and I said I would let him know when I'm ready to come to Melbourne. So I don't want to ruin anything. Or
that's fine. That's fine. It's all good.
I haven't got the permission to go live yet. You know, when you got to wait to go live.
That's so good. I'm looking at ZuZu's Redbubble page right now on my phone. The 3 designs on there. There's 2 Misfit parodies. One has ZuZu written above it, and the other one's just really fucking cool as well. I'm gonna have to try and get me this Misfit parody shirt at some point when I've actually got the spare cash, because that's fucking dope.
Thanks, man. I actually haven't been sued for that yet, so I'm pretty happy.
I should say, fortunately, parody laws, you can get around certain stuff, and I think because it literally says parody in the name of your design, so I think that's fine. I think especially the Misfits as well, being kind of semi-juggalos, would kind of appreciate it anyway. Like, it's more of an homage than a rip-off, I feel.
That's right. I mean, the other guy, Jerry Only's nephew or son, can't remember his name, but he has a variation on it as well.
But yeah, cop some ZuZu merch. I'll link the Redbubble as well. Hopefully, I'll try and remember. My ADHD is fucking terrible, but yeah, I'll link your socials and the Kingdom event on January 28th and all the fun stuff. But thanks for jumping on, man. It took a bit trying to sort this one out over the last couple of weeks because we've both been busy and it's Christmas time and whatever else. But this is actually going to drop on Christmas Day, so I wish you a Merry Christmas or a Happy Holidays, whatever you celebrate, Happy New Year, all the bells and whistles and all of that. And I call it like Clown in a Box or Merry Clownmas or some sort of shitty pun, as I always call the episodes. But
oh, mate, it's been a pleasure. Always good to cross you. Make sure, next time you're in Canberra, we have to catch up, mate.
Unfortunately, I will be missing the first show of the year because it will be my wife's birthday. Unfortunately, I should say, not unfortunately, that's going to sound bad if she hears that, but I am a married man now, so unfortunately for the wrestling crew, my family life has to come first now.
That's right.
But hopefully in April when I come up, I can see you. If not, hopefully we can get the funds and just come for a weekend away, because why the fuck not?
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, click all the links. Thank you very much, ZuZu, for coming on. I shall talk to you later, mate.
You too, mate. Catch you later.
See you, mate. Alrighty, thank you so much to ZuZu the Muscle Clown for jumping on the pod. That man has stories for days. Actually, if you guys haven't seen it yet, I'm going to link it below. Go watch the interview that he did with Joel Southgate. I really love the story that he told on Joel Southgate's channel of the story about where he and Akel kidnapped air quotes on an audio podcast. But what are you going to do? They kidnapped superfan Kyle Ead. But yeah, go check out that interview if you get the chance. I'll link it below. As I said, it's just great story. ZuZu's a great guy. And as always, speaking of links, check my link tree in the description for all my socials, my merch, and my Amazon wishlist. It's Christmas after all. Hint, hint, wink, 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 wink. I'm not expecting anyone to actually do that, but hey, if if you wanna, it's there. Check out ZuZu's social media and, of course, his merch as well, also linked below. If you are in New South Wales, January 28th, as we discussed in this conversation with ZuZu, Kingdom Pro Wrestling will have a show, their very first show of 2023. If you're in Victoria, MXW has a show on the same day as well. Again, I'm trying my hardest to get there. I'm really glad to be part of the team, but even if I can't make it, I can't wait to hear feedback and see footage and yada, yada, yada. But that's neither here nor there. That's my issue to worry about, not for you guys. Check out the links as well for ICW Australia and Anarchy Pro's first shows of 2023, respectively. The song of the week was Carol of the Bells by Lyric Noel. Again, metal covers of Christmas carols, because why the fuck not? And the match of the week this week was Kane versus Shane McMahon. As I said in the intro, here comes the money, in an ambulance match at Survivor Series, wait for it, 2003, not 2023. We're not there yet, John. God damn it, my bad, ADHD, caffeine. I just got a message, actually, as I'm recording this outro, fuck it, I'm going to leave that in, from referee Steve, saying that I should turn the fueled by caffeine and anger into an official shirt for Courting Conversation. So if you guys think that that's a good idea, hit me up, let me know. I might make something. Then again, I might not, because again, I'm ADHD, I'll probably forget. But anyway, I am the essential John L. Crossfire. It's time for me to go get ho-ho hammered and feel all merry and jolly. I've already got the belly to be Santa Claus, so might as well go get the attitude as well. But you were just caught in conversation. Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's, drink responsibly, all the same stuff I said in the intro. I feel like it needs to be repeated, but once again, I am the essential General Crossfire. I'm going to repeat this now as well. And you were just caught in conversation. Cheers, guys.